Hi, I'm Patrick Tang. I'm the Director of the Financial Services Compliance Department at Salesforce. In this presentation, I will explain integration solutions to enable Salesforce application to access sensitive data stored at the customer infrastructure. Please make your buying decisions only on the products commercially available from Salesforce. I also want to point out that I'm describing key concepts on integration solutions at a high level. The whiteboard drawings are illustrations to quickly explain key technical concepts at high level. Please use the documentations on the integration products for technical details and also for your buying decisions. A majority of Salesforce customers are using the Salesforce built-in security features to meet all their information security requirements. The built-in security features include single sign-on, two-factor authentication, multi-tenancy security, object and record level security, HTTP encryption for in-transit encryption, and classic encryption for data at rest encryption. Some customers in highly regulated industries are using the Salesforce Shield products encryption, event monitoring, or audit trail capabilities to meet their additional requirements. Customers who have unique security requirements which are not met by the Salesforce built-in security features and the Shield product should review the solutions which enable the integration of the Salesforce application with some sensitive data stored at the customer infrastructure. Storing some sensitive data at the customer infrastructure can enable new ways to address unique security requirements. Integration of data at the customer infrastructure is usually applicable for data fields that are not frequently used by the Salesforce application. All the frequently used fields would be defined in the Salesforce standard objects. Sensitive data fields which are not defined in Salesforce standard object are usually compatible with integration solutions. For an example, mother's maiden name, credit score, driver's license, medical ID, passport number, passphrase, and many other sensitive fields are not in the standard objects, so they can be compatible with integration solutions. Integration of data at the customer infrastructure is not suitable for data fields which are frequently accessed by the Salesforce application. For an example, account name, and contact email are frequently used by the Salesforce application and are defined in the Salesforce standard object. These fields should be protected by the Salesforce built-in security features and optionally by the Shield product instead of an integration solution. There are two types of integration that can address unique security requirements. The first type is integration of data at the customer infrastructure. I will start with a simple drawing of Salesforce without integration solutions. On the right, we have the Salesforce Cloud, which has an application web server and a database server. On the left, we have the user using the computer to access Salesforce. In this drawing, we have not added any integration solution, so Salesforce would only read and write data stored at the database inside the Salesforce Cloud. On the left side, we will add a customer infrastructure. The customer infrastructure will need a middleware system, which can be using the OData protocol, the SOAP API, or the REST API. The middleware system would access a database also at the customer infrastructure. With an integration solution like Salesforce Connect or Custom Web Service API, Salesforce can read and write data at the customer infrastructure in real time without storing the data at Salesforce. As long as Salesforce has network connectivity to the external data source, it can be located anywhere. The key advantages of this type of integration include Salesforce does not store external data. External data is accessed in real time, so there's no data synchronization issues. Let's take a look at the user interface at the upper left-hand side of this presentation. The Salesforce user interface can present some data stored at Salesforce and some data stored at the customer infrastructure. In this example, the personal ID is from the database at the customer infrastructure, and the account name is from the Salesforce database. Let's talk about the second type of integration, which can address unique security requirements. The second type is integration of user interface at the customer infrastructure. Again, we have the Salesforce Cloud, the user, and the customer infrastructure. In the interest of time, I will skip drawing the database server. But the database server is at the customer infrastructure and also at Salesforce. In this example, Salesforce creates a web page with an empty section, which is in green color in this presentation. Salesforce then sends the web page to the user. The user web browser receives the web page with the empty section. The empty section of the web page is an iframe, with instruction for the web browser to get another page from a web server at the customer infrastructure. When the web server at the customer infrastructure receives the request from the user, it will generate a page of client personal information and then send it back to the user. When the user web browser receives the client personal information page, it will seamlessly display it to the user as one user interface. The key advantage is the sensitive data handled by this type of integration is never sent to Salesforce. The key disadvantage is Salesforce cannot process the data handled by this type of integration. For example, the user will not be able to search on this data on Salesforce or create reports on Salesforce for this type of data. Therefore, this type of integration is only suitable for data fields which are not frequently used by Salesforce.